Today we have two honored guests among us. First of all, I'm going to welcome Tyrone, a big supporter of Jollof. He's been with us since day one, showed a lot of love and support to our community, and he's here with one of his mentors. I'm just going to give it off to him to introduce our honored guest of today.
Okay, so again, thank you guys so much for inviting myself. I'm excited because today, we're going to have a lot of fun because we're blessed enough to be able to do this talk show with not only a close friend, not only a great father, but an amazing entrepreneur and real estate investor in Philadelphia and throughout the country, and as well as a mentor over the past 2 years as we go through this journey to close that wealth gap amongst Black Americans, especially here in Philadelphia. So, I'm going to pass it over to none other than Franklin Jones.
What's going on, everybody? This is Franklin Jones. I've been investing in real estate, construction for the past 20 plus years. And I'm here today. I'm honored to be here actually today with brothers, good brothers, and just explain the truth about real estate success and how to be successful at real estate and the do's and don'ts, where we go right and where we go wrong in the African American community as far as real estate and developing.
Thank you again for that intro. So let's just get into it a little bit. Frank, can you give us some background on how you got into real estate investment?
Sure. My father was a real estate developer initially. He had Jones Construction. My father was more so of a cash flow guy. He wasn't more of a residual income asset type of guy. So while working with my father, I learned that, I was becoming a great carpenter, but I know that we were seeing the peanuts. We were working for the investors. We would fix the house up beautifully from, gut it out, rehab, renovated. And I noticed at the end of the day, listen, we're not really getting much, Dad. But at the time, my dad was just happy to be a Black man that was developing and making good money. So eventually, my father and mother parted ways, which left me just to be, kind of the man of the house. So I needed some source of income. So initially, I took how can I say this? I took the route of every other young, confused Black male in the inner city of doing things, with malice, malice intent from just dealing with the streets. I'm gonna just be honest, just for our people, so I could be real. I started off, selling drugs. You know what I mean? Selling drugs. Sadly, unfortunately, I became successful at that. But spiritually, my conscience was always eating me up. Like, you're smarter than this. You're better than this. Why are you doing this? You're destroying your own people for money, just for materialistic things. So eventually, I lost everything. My cousin, I had him doing some narcotic activities out the county. A Caucasian male, which was a great customer of ours, snitched on him or ratted on him. And that woke me up. And I met a beautiful young lady at the time, which was my wife. And my wife made it very, very clear to me that I don't want to be with a drug dealer. So I had to make a decision. My wife was pregnant at the time, and she said, listen, I don't want to be with a drug dealer. So I could either leave her with the baby or change my life around. I decided to change my life around. So after that, let me back it up a little bit. I did have a mayor's scholarship to the University of Pennsylvania. I did have a mayor's scholarship to the University of Pennsylvania, which was fully paid. I dropped out. I dropped out of that. I had another scholarship to Drexel University, fully paid. I dropped out of Drexel University. All the little monies that they gave me, because even though I had the full scholarship, I was filling out for every possible grant, loan, everything. I took all that money and bought a bunch of nonsense with it. I bought a lot of nonsense. Anything that can impress people in my hood. You know, used some of that money to buy drugs. I used some of that money to buy clothes. I used it for a host of different things that amounted to nothing. So, you know, that's kind of where, you know, it all started from.
Gotcha.
So you say you left college
Right.
on a full scholarship,
Right.
one of the most prestigious universities. So
Right.
with that one tells me that's very impressive. Like, so can you even walk us through like I guess the background in your education that allowed you to be one of those chosen scholars to even get that scholarship?
Okay, so I went to Strawberry Mansion High School. First of all, my father was a very militant guy. I went to Strawberry Mansion High School, and at the time, that was one of the worst high schools in America.
Right.
All my teachers, counselors, everybody, you know, all the, you know, people, authoritative figures in my school used to come to me and say, Frank, you know, we understand that you live in North Philadelphia, but you have a gift. You're intelligent.
They seen it.
You know, why aren't you using this? So I would cut class. I would go to class. I was infatuated with girls in high school, like deeply infatuated.
We've all fell victim.
Yeah. Girls, and I was infatuated with girls in, you know, superficial possessions, you know, worldly things, you know, clothes. Because in high school, that meant something. Who looked the best? Who dressed the best? That overshadowed intelligence in high school. So even though I was a lot more, you know, brighter statistically than other kids, and did more, you know, intellectually better than other kids, and I'm not putting nobody down, but my goal was to just dress the best,
right,
and look the best. So I was 90% looks and 10% intellectual. And that 10%, because of, you know, most people came from broken homes and moms are drug addicts, and that 10%, just using that amount, got me past everybody.
Right.
So I went to my counselor. She approached me and said, listen, I'm going to make you a candidate, or, you know, volunteer you as a candidate for the Mayor's Scholarship for University of Pennsylvania. All you got to do is go there, take this test. They're not going to worry about your SAT scores, because my SAT scores, I took it twice.
Right.
One of them I had like an 1100, one of them I had like a 12 something.
This was back when it was like out of 1500, right?
1600.
16.
And I made a mistake because I answered every question on the SAT.
Even the ones that you weren't confident about.
Right. I just guessed, honest to God, I guessed 80% of the test. I just went off of like common sense to tell you this. Common sense to tell you that. Or pixie. You know what I mean? Like I really was guessing.
Right.
So UPenn said, hey, look, you're good. We want you here. You're from this, that. And it helped that they never really got kids from Strawberry Mansion to go to the University of Pennsylvania. They never really got kids, you know. So it looked good on their behalf, too.
Right.
Like, he's from Mansion. Strawberry, he's from a Harvard school. Look,
makes sense.
He can do.
They couldn't intellectually compete, and they found somebody that could.
Right. And when I say after that, when I started taking tests in school, my school started to kind of use me as a token, like, hey, let's use Franklin. You know, like we would have, I don't know if y'all ever had this, we had 24 contests back in school.
Same.
You had to there's a card with 4 numbers on it. You had to like figure out a way to make 24 out of the numbers.
And the fastest one to get it got the point.
So I was crushing them.
Yeah.
I was crushing them. My school paid for me to go to Disney World and repeat in a robotics program, which pulled interest from, you know, Drexel University. Drexel said, hey, who's this kid, this, that, you know. And I was really, honestly, I only wanted to join these things because it was pretty girls in all these programs. I went to Drexel, I went to UPenn first. And it wasn't even for a long time. I just went there and You know, I made some excuse up to my mom, like, I don't like the food.
Right.
You know, these a bunch of nerds. This is not me. This is, you know, they really trying to learn. I'm trying to have some fun.
So were you already in real estate when you left college?
I was working for my father.
Okay, so you were working with your father. You were learning the trade. You becoming more confident and skilled. And that's when you kind of had the apt to say, I don't really need this.
Right. I was working with all right, so let me put it all in perspective. I was working with my father since I was 6 years old.
Okay.
I was sweeping backyards. My dad used to have a 40-ounce of beer and give me a sip of beer. You know what I mean? I was sweeping backyards for my father at 6 years old. And I was also, at 6 years old, I was doing TV commercials. So that was my parents' chance to use TV commercials, the money, the income that I got from these TV commercials to move out of the hood. But my mom and dad was hood people too. They took that TV commercial money and, you know, we was fly, Easter clothes, you know, a bunch of nonsense because my mom and dad was never, well, my father was, I'm sorry, at the time they were just worrying about, like I said, in the hood, being fly or dressing decent gives you validation. It puts you on a pedestal.
Right.
So that's when my mom and dad took the money. It was like, hey, we never had money. So time went on. As I got older, I started becoming really good at carpentry, electric, plumbing with my father as I got older. Now, and this was like around high school graduation time. My dad was like, yo, you really good at this, but go to college. But meanwhile, I'm seeing other things going. See, I know I'm kind of chopping this up, but
all good.
Gentrification was going on in the 90s.
Right.
It's just popular now. You know what I mean? Back in the day, you just think all the landlords were mainly white or Asian, Jewish, you know what I mean? Italian, they were all the landlords back in the day. Right now, they're just more evident and it's popular, it's a fad. But rewinding back, like I said, when I was in college, I seen how much money my father was making, and I knew where he was going wrong at. So that also motivated me to drop out of college.
Right.
When I went to Drexel, college, Drexel and UPenn, college wasn't what I wanted it to be. I was thinking of party, girls, fun. It wasn't that. It was in Drexel and UPenn. It was people were serious.
Right.
Everybody didn't get a full scholarship.
It wasn't state school. It definitely wasn't community.
People in there was like, no, bro, what are you doing? We trying to learn.
Right.
You listening to Mace and Puff Daddy and you know, no, bro, we trying to learn. I don't have no money.
Right.
So eventually that just burnt me out. I just was like, you know what? I gotta make some real money. And with that thought came the streets, of course. Because I knew anything I put my mind to, I could be good at. I don't care if it was selling water, drugs, penny candy, sweeping off steps. I just knew I had to put my mind and my soul into something. So, that's when the whole street life came with the drugs and, a whole lot of stuff came with that. But that's when my girlfriend at the time came around and was like, look, I don't want to be with this type of guy. I want to be with this type of guy. I don't want to be going to your funeral. I don't want to be visiting you in jail. Everyone was telling me, hey, you're so smart. Why don't you do this? So I made the transition. Was my parents upset with me when I dropped out of college? Yes, my father was extremely upset.
Right.
Was my mother upset? My mom was like, look, figure out something that you want to do. And that was that.
So when I think about that, I don't know, that level of confidence. Like, I'm just honing in on that level of confidence for you to not only feel as though that you didn't need college. Well, you obviously didn't want it because you didn't have the things that you said you needed. But just to jump, and rather it was going into selling drugs or rather it was working with your father, like that took a lot of guts, right? So once you made that jump and now you're working with your father, of course, learning this skill and this trade of construction.
Right.
When did you feel as though you needed to take it to the next level to now not only just be a worker, but be an investor? even though you didn't actually see your father do that, you took that on your own. Am I correct?
Right.
Okay.
My dad never invested into real estate.
Okay. He just
fixed real estate. He fixed other people's property.
But I'm sure like high end, not like
Right.
basic level.
No. My dad was building South Street, Bainbridge, Haverford, Flowertown, all over Wildwood, New Jersey, New York. So when you say confident, I'm gonna tell you, it was a false sense of confidence. It was actually I was coming from nothing. So either way, if I end up with nothing, it was already expected of me.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't like I had so much, I knew that I can do it, and I knew to bet on myself, but I figured, worst case scenario, I'm already coming from nothing. So that's what gave me the push to like, look, you can do better.
Right.
And then the longer I've been out of college, like maybe 2 years, after college, after I dropped out, I started really thinking about life. I started really getting into spirituality. I started really digging into spirituality. I started seeing friends die, friends get on drugs. And what changed my life like drastically is I had this one customer, she was a prostitute. And she was right here over on 33rd and Diamond. And I remember me and her sitting on the steps. She was like Spanish, and she was light-skinned. So if you was light-skinned back in the day with good hair, I would call you mommy. What's up, mommy? How many you want? Oh, well, hold on, Poppy. I don't have no money yet. I got to get this trick to, do what she need to do to get the money. So while we were sitting there at 33rd and Diamond, there was steps right on the corner. And I said to her, what made you get on drugs? And she said, they took my kids away from me, Poppy. And that was like, my conscience was really on me. Like, and I was listening to my wife and everything I was going through with my father and, just my cousin getting arrested and people snitching on him. Rest in peace to my homie Shocky. He got put in the trunk. He called me and said, yo, they just did this to me. I said, you know what? I got to stop this stuff. But the lady, and she works at Sunoco on Ridge and Girard right now. But and every time I see her, she wave and I wave back, and we just smile at each other because we remember the time. Like, I was the hustler and you was the customer. But that changed my life because I was like, damn, they took our kids away and then made her get on drugs. That's like, wow. But around that time, like I said, I started digging deep spiritually. I started wanting a job. I started saying, look at you, Frank. All this intelligence, all this whatever, you amount to be nothing. So I called my sister up and I asked my sister, she was working at Nordstrom at the time. I said, hey, look, could you get me a job? I'm trying to do right. My sister's like, I ain't putting my name on nothing for you. Like, So I said, damn, you can't get your brother a job.
She don't want you to mess her name up.
Right. And at the time, I was getting evicted. I had this apartment on Ford Road.
Okay.
I was getting evicted out the apartment. Like, it was getting bad. Like, they was giving me chance after chance after chance. So my last hope to save my apartment was to get a job. My sister said, no, I ain't putting my name on no line for you, messing my name up, and you still want to. I said, no, I'm really trying to work. She worked at Nordstrom, King of Prussia. And she didn't get me the job. I called a friend of mine who also worked there. His name is Brother George. It's my brother. Brother George got me the job. He got me an interview the very next day. And that same day he got me an interview, I never picked up a drug or any narcotic ever again. And within working at Nordstrom, I met another brother of mine, a dear brother of mine, Ronell Miller. He looked at me one day, he said, yo, your spirit is broken, because it was. Because I done dropped out of UPenn, I done left Drexel University, I was selling drugs. You know what I mean? Things wasn't going right in my household. All this time, while all this going on, I had a baby on the way. I was just broken. Like, you know, my father called. I talked to my father. He was still upset with him and my mother breaking up. So when I talked to my father, I'm like, Dad, I need money. I need this. My dad said, listen, you can't point the finger because you failed at life. You a failure. I said, I'm a failure? I'm 20, 21, I'm young. What you mean I'm a failure? Like, this is a guy that when I was working for my dad, I was busting my butt for this guy. And he called me a failure. That hurt me to the core, but it also sparked so much fire in me. So that was part of my spirit being broken. So I met with Ronell Miller. Ronell Miller said, look, man, he didn't know me from a can of paint. He said, yo, bro, your spirit is broke. You need to get your spirit together, then you can get your life together. So Ronell Miller introduced me to African culture and spirituality. And we would talk about religion. I said, no, religion ain't me. He said, right. So I went to Freehold, New Jersey, met my spiritual father, who is Nana, I'm trying to say his whole name correctly, Nana Ahor Kakaban Annan III, which is a spiritual father. And that's when my life really started to change. That's when I started, like, you know, start taking like spiritual baths. You started teaching me about life, to separate reality from Western civilization, worldly things, and all the things that I thought that were validate me and make me successful. He rid my mind of all of that stuff. He kind of cleaned my spirit. And I started looking at life differently. And he said, now go back out into the world and be successful. Show them that an ordinary black man that came from nothing could become a multi-millionaire without being flashy, without being shiny, without all the glamour and glitz. I want you to do it from the muscle. And we prayed. We went to the shrine and we prayed. And from that day forth, I've been getting better real estate deals than anybody that I know. That's just being 100% real. I mean, I bought houses that's worth $400,000 and $500,000 for $9,000. I mean, Brother T.Y. can let people know. I just brought, what's the address? Where we just came from today?
No. Creation Road?
Yeah, I got that for $7,000.
Chestnut Hill.
So, I mean, and 40 plus other properties. So I say all that to say that I went through a whole lot to get where I'm at. It wasn't all glamour and glitz. I'm not the guy that's gonna lie to you on Instagram. I'm not gonna be on Instagram being on the airplane, on the jet saying, hey, this can be you, because that's not it.
That sounds like an amazing journey. I mean, that was a lot, you know, because like I said, that false sense of, I love that you touched on that false sense of confidence, because it was to you a mistake of you leaving school and selling drugs, and it took things in your life to happen that just reminded you of what mattered and what didn't.
Right.
And then, I mean, I guess you could say you even blessed to even, you know, run into that spiritual advisor that right. just seen you broken and then help build up your confidence, or, you know, or right. even see it for yourself, honestly, because it probably was already there. Right. And you said you got some of the best deals from them. Right. And that started in what year?
2006, I would like to say. 2006.
All right, this is the best time to go into the segue of tell us how it all started. Okay. You're talking about having multi-millions and amazing properties. Like, tell us about that first property, which I know it had to be a lot.
Okay, so I'm not going to talk fast. I'm going to talk kind of slow so I can articulate this correctly.
Okay.
Okay, so my first deal, how I even started into real estate, I started walking around my neighborhood, knocking on people's doors, asking who owns the property next door that's abandoned. Who you? I'm Frank. I used to live on such and such. You know who owned this property right there? Yeah, that's Miss So-and-so. They moved down south, but I got her son number. If you want, I'll give him a call and ask him what they want to do with the property. Yeah, could you do that? Yeah, come back tomorrow. Could you do that now? Because I don't know if I'm going to be back tomorrow. Hold on, baby, hold on. You know, and they would go get the phone and make a phone call, hand me the phone. And I would say, listen, I'm interested in buying this property. It seemed like y'all just letting it sit. You know, I would say everything, but I would say it in a nice way because I didn't want to insult people. Like, hey, look, you're a piece of crap. You're ruining the neighborhood. You're letting this property go down.
Right.
So I would say, you know, I just want to bring back the neighborhood. You know, I'm young, I'm black, I'm trying to do the right things in life. How much do you want to sell this property for? So the first time I did that, I knocked on somebody's door. The person who answered the door said the owner lives next door. This is 2738 West Sterner Street. 2738 West Sterner Street. Her name was Miss Platt. I'll never forget. Miss Platt said, listen, I own this house and I own that house. I'll sell you that house next door. I said, well, how much? She said, how much do you got? Now, at the time, I had $2,500. Not just me by myself, but me and my cousin together, Kenny, my cousin Kenny. We had $2,500 together. And Ms. Platt said, well, how much, you got? What you want to pay for the house? So me and my cousin Kenny went outside and we spoke. And I said, listen, man, that's all we got to our name. I'm not giving her the whole $2,500. I said, give me all the 20s and the 10s. And I tried to make it look like it was so much
More than what it was.
so much money. But, I wasn't fooling Miss Platt. Miss Platt said, how much you got? I said, Miss Platt, right now I got $1,100. So my first house that I ever bought, 2738 West Sterner Street, I bought for $1,100.
Wow.
Now, my cousin Kenny wasn't really into real estate. He just was amazed that I just bought a house for $1,100. So, my cousin Kenny ended up spending, we split the rest of the money. He ended up spending the rest of the money, his money. So he was pressuring me like, look, I ain't got no money. We got to sell this house. I said, what you mean we got to sell it? We going to fix it. I had this brilliant plan. We going to fix it. We going to do this. No, man, it's 50% my house. We got to sell it. I said, all right. So we flipped the house. We sold it for $8,000. I tried to get more, but Kenny was under so much pressure that like, no, man, whatever we get, take it,
Right.
So I sold it for $8,000. I was salty after that, but I said, you know what? I'm gonna try that formula everywhere. I'm gonna knock on people's doors. I knocked on somebody's door. Some people be like, get out of here. We ain't selling no house. What you doing? Who you working for? I ain't working for nobody. I'm working for me. No, we ain't selling that. We ain't selling it. So one day, after about knocking on 100 doors, no exaggeration, my cousin, girlfriend, mother, I noticed that her house was vacant. I knocked on her door. Nobody answered. Time to get my cousin to call. Hey, do you know so-and-so, Mom? Oh, yeah, they still own the house. I don't know what they doing. They moved to Upper Darby. I said, well, put me in contact with them. He put me in contact with them. I said, hey, Miss Delora, her name is Dolores Mosley. Miss Dolores, what are you doing with the house? Well, Frankie, I'm not doing nothing with it. That was like music to my ching. I'm not doing nothing with it. All right, so she said, I'll sell you the house for $10,000. I said, right now, I don't have $10,000. Right now, I made up a number. I said, right now, I only have like $3,000. She said, all right, well, we can work something out. Give me $500 every 2 weeks. So at the time I was working at Nordstrom,
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, here's the first $500, right? I met her daughter, gave her daughter the $500. And the next week I gave her $500. Then I got a call from Miss Dolores. She said, listen, I'm going to cut you a break because you're young and you're trying to do your thing. I'm going to sell you the house for $5,000. Right? So once again, no Kenny involved this time.
Right.
This is me. So I called up everybody in my family who I thought might have had money. I don't care if you gave me $100, $200, $300. But
You just need to get that 5,000.
right. No, at the time I only owed the $4,000. So I called my Aunt Tanya. And my mother gave me $1,000 and my Aunt Tanya gave me $3,000. I took it to Miss Dolores. She was happy. I signed the house over. Now I own the house free and clear, no mortgage, no nothing. I just bought it $5,000 cash. Meanwhile, while all this is going along, I was, I knew about credit, and I knew that I knew that you needed credit to pull some money out the house.
Right.
So while all this was going along, I opened up an account with American Heritage Federal Credit Union. I'm giving them free promotion. so I opened up a unsecured. What is that? What do you put your own money up? And what is that? The secure card?
Right. The secure card.
All right. Put $500 secure card. Used it. Paid it. Used it. Paid it. And then I got a First Premier card. Used it. Paid it.
And that's what you use to do renovations?
No, that's what I used to build credit up.
Oh, just to build your credit.
Because I knew, once
Got it.
I get this house, I'm gonna need some money. For renovations, I use my Nordstrom paycheck.
Oh, okay.
And
out
my
of pocket.
wife at the time was washing hair at a hair salon, and my wife would give me money because I already knew how to do all the work.
Right.
So fast forward, every paycheck I was putting into the house, my wife was giving me money, putting into the house. My Aunt Tanya, when she got an extra $500 or something, she would give me to put into the house. I begged my father to help me. He finally helped me after me and him made some type of deal. Listen, when I'm done, I'll give you this kind of money,
Mom did it with no problem. Dad wanted
Right, Dad always had an agenda. So the house gets fixed up, totally. I made it beautiful. My father said, okay, what are you going to do now? I said, I'm going to pull some equity out of the house. And my father was like, okay, you got the credit? Yeah, I got the credit. I went to the bank. The bank came and the bank appraised the house for $27,000. Now, I done borrowed all this money from all these people. And, it was like maybe I might have borrowed, let's say, $12,000 from everybody. And the bank appraised it for $27,000. I called the bank up and said, I won't accept that appraisal. They never even came in the house, which they never did. The appraiser never came in the house. He was just scared of the neighborhood. So I said, listen, send another appraiser out. And if the appraisal comes back bad, I'll pay for it. They sent another appraiser out. The house came back at $102,000. So that's a big difference. Now,
Wait, let's bring it back. What year was this again?
2000 and this was like 08.
08 and okay,
Now,
so
when
right.
I finally got done the house, it was 2008 because
Gotcha.
I didn't have no loan. I fixed up the house off of Nordstrom paycheck. I was making $7 an hour.
So this is kind of fresh out the market crash. You really had that confidence to go and buy this house. Like you already did the flip on Sterner Street.
Right.
And now and where was this property located?
This was 2238 Fontaine Street.
Okay, I know that property O2L. So 2238 Fontaine Street, you paid $5,000 for it.
Yes.
And you mean to tell me you did the renovations and it was worth $100,000?
Right.
How much did you put into the property?
I probably put $25,000 into it.
$25,000.
Because I did all the work.
Okay. So that was a major flip.
Right. Sheetrock was a lot cheaper back then.
So I'm sure this property right here just like opened your mind up to like all the opportunities that you could do.
Now at this time, while I'm working on the house for a year and a half, 2 years, whatever, I'm really getting interested in real estate because I knew like, okay, you can make a lot of money off of real estate. So long story short, American Heritage appraised the house for $102,000. They gave me 75%. So after deducting all the fees and things that they deducted, 3 days after I got the appraisal, they deposited $72,000 into my account. Now, 3 days before they deposited $72,000 into my account, I had about $40 in my account. Like I was really living check to check, like
right? Because you were
scrambling.
putting everything into the property.
Everything
Now,
that I had.
give me like a brief synopsis on like, because that's impressive. You build your credit up intentionally through American Heritage.
Right.
So how exactly did you build the credit up, and then how did you actually use your credit to be able to maneuver through the system to be able to pull that money and put it into the property?
Well, I built my credit up using my paycheck. I got a secured card.
You got the secured card,
Right.
okay?
I looked online and said credit cards were.
So you just Googled basically.
Yeah, I
You
Googled
used it-
online credit
gotcha.
cards for people with bad credit.
Back to the same common sense that you had.
Right.
Back to that same common sense that you had when you took the SATs.
Right.
You still figured it out.
Credit cards with people. First Premier popped up. Bing, bing, bing. I filled out. They said, we'll give you the card, but you got to pay all these fees. It was like $200 already taken out the card before they give you the card.
Right.
No problem. What else am I going to do? You know? I
Okay.
got to start from, first you got to take the bullet. So that's what I did. And I was paying the minimum on both cards every month. Just building a history.
Got it.
Building a history.
Keeping the utilization low.
Right. So those two cards had my credit at a 650, I believe, at the time. It was like a 650 or 655, something like that. But that's how I already was watching different people, and the investors that me and my father used to work for, I knew exactly what they were doing.
Got you. Okay, so you were paying attention to not only just the construction, but how they were, maneuvering
Right.
through like getting the renovations done on these
Right.
properties that they had.
Right.
So how did you actually pull the money off the card when you used that money for the renovations?
Okay. Me as far as the credit cards,
Right.
I go to Home Depot. Doors at the time a slab was $30 for a slab. I would take if I had
A lot cheaper than that.
Right. If I had $250 on the card, I would get 5-6 doors. You know what I mean?
Yep. Okay.
I would buy some lumber. 2x4s back then was $2, $1.96. You know what I mean? So it was a lot cheaper. And every day I would put in work. I would stay consistent. Every day I would put in work, and I didn't have I have to have this done by this time. No, I worked on my own time, comfortably. Because I knew once I get done and I pull the equity out of this property, I'm going to take off.
It's all coming to you.
I'm going to use the same formula everywhere. So that's what I did. They gave me $72,000 in 2008. In 2000, by the years in 2008, going into 2009, I had 12 houses.
In just that 1 year.
Right, because I was determined. I didn't think about Gucci, Louis Vuitton, all the design. I didn't think about that. I thought about, man, what's 12 times 72? You understand what I'm saying? I was thinking about multiplying. Right. So I would go knock on people's door. Hey, who's selling this house? So and so. They don't want to sell it, dog. And I upped the ante a little bit. I started telling people I have cash, no check, cash. What you mean? They would say, what you mean cash? Like, I'm going to bring the money to you in a bag. Now, how much do you want to sell this house for? Now, once you tell somebody back in those times, another black person that you got cash, and it's an abandoned house sitting right there that's dilapidated, that's condemned, that's far, how much? Look, just give me a couple $1,000s, baby. I said, well, what's a couple of thousand? A couple, two. 2524 North 32nd Street, 3-story building. I bought for $2,000.
2000. And what year was this?
This was 2010, I'm guessing. I'm
Wow.
gonna jump around because I bought so many buildings.
What's that $2,000 property probably going for now?
A few hundred thousand.
A few hundred
man.
thousand. Oh.
So, 6072 Collar Hill Street, beautiful corner property. Knocked on the door, nobody answered. Knocked on the door, nobody answered. It was a for sale sign laying in front of the property, just laying on the ground, and it was like barely legible. You could barely, because it was faint because it done rained on. I made out what the numbers were. Called the number, talked to the guy. The guy said, I want $10,000 for the property. I said, well, how much would you take right now cash? He said, same thing, $10,000 for the property. I said, no, I'm talking about right now. I said, I'm at the property standing in front. He pulled up, he worked for Fresh Grocer. This is when they first started having people deliver the groceries. He pulled up in a Fresh Grocer delivery truck. I said, we can go sign this deed over right now. He said, give me $7,000. I went in my sister-in-law's, because I didn't have a car at the time. I went in my sister-in-law's car where I had the money at, pulled $7,000 out, and we went and we signed the deed over 6072 Collar Hill Street.
7,000.
So now that property is worth $275.
And this is property number what? Now.
At the
I know it's hard to keep up. What's this
right, I'm just
number?
giving you like, okay, this is property probably
Just give me an estimate.
Number 13 at the
Number
time.
13. So let me get this straight. You're using the skills that you learned from your father.
Right.
When he was doing construction on, you said, where did he do construction? What kind of buildings did you guys work on together?
We worked on, my father built from the ground up.
From the ground up, new construction.
Right, new construction, rehab,
Rehabs.
South Street to Wildwood to New York.
Okay. So you had a plethora of experiences.
Absolutely.
So like enough experiences, you felt so confident that you could renovate these houses on your own.
Yes.
Okay. Because when I think about it, Toby, you can maybe attest to this. Most investors, they typically buy, the ones that we know in Philadelphia or even out, they typically get the funding, they get the loan for the house, and they may or may not do some work, but a lot of times they'll hire out, whether it's a contractor or a subcontractor to do the work. But in this scenario, you were cutting out the middleman. You weren't hiring a contractor, you weren't hiring subcontractors, you were solely doing the work on your own.
Right.
And when you want it.
Right. So the pros and the cons to that is that if you get funding to get the building rehab and you can hire a whole team, common sense will tell you would get the job done a lot faster.
Right.
I didn't care about getting it done faster. I cared about getting the big money at the end. Hey, you got it done faster and you made 30 grand. It took me about 6 months more, but I made about 120 grand more than what you.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? As Warren Buffett would say, the big money is in the wait.
Got it. So okay, so just to pause on that. That's amazing because you did it on your own. And again, I feel like, and you can touch on this, like a lot of other investors weren't doing that. So what made you feel as though like this is for me?
Well, not to toot my own horn, but I am very intelligent. I was accepted in the UPenn and Drexel.
Right. So I
started to use common sense. Common sense is big. A lot of people just don't use it. I started to really analyze real estate. I really analyzed everybody. I really said, well, when my mom was renting, who's the landlord? When my mom, who's coming to fix the house up? So the point that I'm trying to make is that once I started breaking down the deals and I started analyzing, okay, this property is worth, if I fix this up, this property is going to be worth $150,000. If I get somebody to pay somebody to fix it up, first of all, okay, let me say this. You find a property, the bank wants to give you money to buy the property. And then they want to give you money to rehab the property. So you got to pay them back for purchasing the property, rehab costs, and then you got to pay the realtor to sell the property. Right. So 3 people going to get paid before you get paid. Once you pay, if the house is hypothetically worth $100,000, you're just using 100,000 as just a number. So, and the bank gave you 30,000 to purchase it, 30,000 to fix it up, and then you had to get a realtor 10% or 6%, $6,000, right? And after transfer taxes, fees, and everything, you mean to tell me I did all this for $30-something thousand or $20-something thousand, whatever the numbers make out to be? No, Franklin Jones was smarter than that. No, Franklin Jones said, I'm going to buy it for the ultra low. I'm going to do the work. It might take a little bit of time. I'm going to put X amount of dollars into it. And I'm not going to flip the house, because once you flip the house, you're doing nothing but starting the race from the beginning again. No, I'm not flipping. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to get an equity line of credit off the house. You know what I mean? And I'm only going to use that. I'm going to put some money up, but I'm going to use 70 to 80% of the money to buy more property.
Right, and rinse and repeat.
Right.
So you're not a house flipper. You believe solely in buying whole.
Only time I flip a house if I'm flipping it to another brother that's trying to get started in a business.
Right.
If I meet a wonderful brother like any of you brothers and I want to get started, I'm going to flip the house. You know, so that's the only time I'm going to flip the house. So if brother Aki says, hey, Frank, I'm trying to get into real estate and I need a good property to get started with, I'll say, okay, well, this is the property you should get started with, and I'm going to show you how to make some money off the property.
Right, and this is where, you know, this is kind of how we met, actually.
Right, absolutely.
I think it was around, and it's funny because you talk about beliefs and you talk about putting the work in, and you talk about just common sense.
Right.
So myself, when I was really interested in real estate, I listened to Bigger Pockets podcast.
Right.
I was on YouTube. I was just trying to find any way to learn how to get into the game, and I was saving my money. I was building my credit as well, just a little differently, but I was stacking my money and building my credit as well. And I knew I had to find somebody that knew more than I did, because I knew I couldn't just solely learn everything just from being behind the screen. Because, you know, I didn't learn with the hands-on experience. And I remember someone saying in the podcast consistently, a lot of people that would come on would talk about finding someone that knows the game in a mentor. But you have to add some value to them. Right, because absolutely. Otherwise you're just asking someone that already has so many issues and so many things to deal with, like, to help you, and they don't even know you. Right. And it's funny enough, one of my close friends who was a subcontractor, amazing at what he does. Right. I told him, I said, take me to one of your job sites, and I just want to do the work. And that's when I came to the job site. This was on Fontaine Street.
Right.
And
2236
Fontaine Street. And I had cash. I had a great job. I just, you know, I had the money. I had the ambition. I just didn't have the knowledge besides what I learned via YouTube and via books that I read. And I told myself when I walked in, I said, he knows what he's doing. He has X, Y, and Z amount of homes. I'm going to figure out the game from this guy right here. I just hope that he's a great person and that he has great intent and that he actually knows what he's doing. You having all these properties, you becoming a multimillionaire, just being able to connect with people like that actually have good intent, that actually have the knowledge, that actually want to see people do well. And it's crazy because your first when I was looking for all the properties, it was right there in front of me. Right. Your first property that you got into real estate, you end up
selling it to you.
Selling it to myself.
Right.
Which was an amazing deal. I renovated the basement, and I currently live with the property, and I house hacked it. And it just goes back to, you know, like what it's all about. You know, what it's all about. And that's like, you know, black entrepreneurs working together. Group economics, and just trying to create more than what we're doing.
Right. So I remember you coming to me, and I remember you shouting all these deals out, and I kept telling you, it's not a good deal. Mm-hmm. It's not a good deal. You're like, well, why isn't it a good deal? I said, it's not a good deal. Because at the time I was working, I couldn't really break down the numbers. Then I started breaking down the numbers to you. Mm-hmm. And I started saying, well, if you paying $25,000 for this 3-story building that's falling apart. The renovation on is going to be $100,000+. Right? And I said, by the time you get the money from the bank and you use all your money, you're going to be depleted of funds and you're going to be upside down.
Right.
I said, no, I'll sell you this property at a good price. You renovate the basement, add 2 more rooms plus a bathroom in the basement. It's going to raise the value up tremendously. Now, since you bought that house, I don't regret selling it to you, but I see
you do a little bit.
I see how the value went up. Tremendously.
You know.
But the good thing is that I not only own 2238.
Right. That's all love.
I own right next door 2236 also. So, you know,
right.
That's the only way that I flip houses is helping another brother.
Right.
Because my intent is just not to become successful and make a lot of money and create generational wealth. My intent is also to help other brothers create generational wealth. Because in the race of generational wealth amongst different cultures, we're in last place. I don't care what you see on Instagram. I don't care what you see on social media and people we got to touch on that too. People on the airplanes, people telling you this and telling you that. That's not the truth. Mm-hmm. That's not the truth.
You mean like the fake gurus, basically?
Right. So let's get on it. It's a lot of fake gurus that are misleading the people. Even some of the fake gurus, I'm not gonna say no names because I don't want to, expose these brothers because these brothers are they're not using. They're just not doing the right things.
Right. They could be having a better use of their time.
Right.
But that's even more why it was amazing that we were able to get together 2 people that had great intent, that actually care about the community, not selfishly, and that are really going to use our ambition for the right things.
Right. Okay. So let me touch on this because I need to say this.
Okay.
Okay. So the fake guru thing. What we're trying to do, you see these black guys, right? I'm just going to be 100% with y'all because we keep it real on the show. You see these black guys on Instagram, on social media, trying to sell you a lifestyle. Most of them are on jets. Most of them are showing you luxury cars. Most of them are showing you luxury homes.
And not just white guys.
White guys too. Okay, white, whoever.
Right.
But I'm just speaking on people who
that we know
mislead our community.
Right, which is okay.
Which is very important.
Right.
Because we're not telling people the truth about real estate. The truth is, before I owned real estate, I was getting evicted. Me and my wife were sleeping on a twin bed together. One day I came home, it was a pink sign that said, "Do not enter." The neighbor that lived upstairs from me said, "I can't let you in." That's the truth about real estate. Not these airplanes and diamonds and watches. Since me and you met, have I ever put you down or degraded you or disrespected you or say I have way more than you or use any sort of my wealth to belittle you?
No, not at all.
Right. So these guys are selling their own people out. Now, why we're not getting good deals in the hood no more, you want to know why? Because of these fake real estate gurus. These black guys that are bringing these investors to our community, right? Because believe it or not, these investors need us. They don't want to come down and do what I did and knock on doors and communicate with the people. So what they do is they pick a token black guy and say, "Hey, we'll give this guy the funding and he'll knock on everybody. He'll do this. He'll do that. But we're going to be behind the scenes controlling everything." Just think about it. If you need money to buy a house and I give you the money to buy the house and I'm the bank.
Right.
At the end of the day, I still own the house. I'm the bank. You get it?
Mm-hmm.
You see what they're doing? They're using us to gentrify the neighborhoods. It's like it's an infiltration. They're using us. They need us to buy things off of us, and they just back the whole play with money. You see what I'm saying?
And they're really pulling all the strings.
Right.
Got it. So
go ahead.
Right. So and we can go all day. It's crazy because it makes sense. It really makes sense, especially when you got investors that aren't even from Philadelphia that want to benefit, that don't know the neighborhoods like a Franklin Jones, that need someone to be able to get them in those inner city neighborhoods that are the most profitable to flip. And it's unfortunate. So looking at your method, do you still use that same method today?
Absolutely.
Same method, same formula.
Absolutely.
And how many properties have you amassed by using that method? And these are not just in Philadelphia, correct?
Everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, not including the house that I actually live in, I think I have 46 properties.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have been more, but
right.
I sold one to brother T.Y., I sold one to another brother, and this brother, that sister. Because some tenants that I have say, look, Frank, I've been renting for you from 10 plus years. You know, can I purchase this home off you? And I'll say, you know what? Yes, you have a family. You done pay me this amount of rent for these many years. Yes, you can purchase the home for this price. And I'll give them a good deal so they can have some equity in it.
Okay. And what kind of properties do you typically do? Single family?
Any type of property. I don't care if it's a one-bedroom house.
Right.
Every house, every piece of land is profitable.
Okay.
If you get it at the right number.
But would you? So I want to go into. Now it's 2021, and you've amassed all these properties. You've learned so much. You understand how things are different. Well, explain to us, how are things different from when you first started in 08, 09, 2010 to now in 2021? How has the housing market changed, and just in general? Because it's right now it's booming, it's crazy, and like you touched on, like a lot of the people that are having this persona to get into the black communities, and that's over gentrifying the communities a lot faster. How would you just say, and summing it up in your words, how the housing market has changed from then until now?
Back then, real estate had to kind of be like a family thing. Somebody was doing construction, somebody in my family did this. Now, anybody think they can do real estate. You know what I mean? Anybody think, you know what, I'm broke. I'm gonna get rich though. I'm gonna just do real estate. Any and everybody.
It's like the cool thing to do. It's like faddish.
Right. Anybody think they could become successful at real estate. Now, I'm not even against that. Right. Why don't you take that and put it into your kids that anybody could be a doctor, or anybody could be a lawyer, or architect, or engineer. Don't just say anybody can do real estate, because everybody can't do real estate. Most people aren't successful at real estate. More people foreclose on homes, especially in 08, even to today, a lot of people are foreclosing on homes.
Right.
Everybody can't do real estate. Right now, real estate is watered down. When I started, you had to really put the work in. When I sold you Fontaine Street, I said, no, you got to put the work in.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Some people be upside down. Some people buy a property, and if you buy a property, you spend $100 and something, you be $100 and something $1,000 in debt for a property, and your profit is only $400 or $500 a month. You're backwards in real estate. Real estate is not good for you. You know, you wanna make decent money on properties. If your note on a property is $500-600 a month, you want to at least be making $500-600 a month profit. You know, you're making good money. Everybody's not making good money off real estate.
Speaking of good money, what's a good deal?
If I buy a property,
all right, I say one of your best deals.
One of my best deals.
One of your best
deals within the past 5 years, because I feel like it's mad cheap back then, but
right now, okay, so it's almost going to be the same. So you have to have patience when buying property. You can't be too eager. You don't get the right deals when you're eager. It's like me buying clothes. It's like if I want these pairs of this shirt, and I'm so eager to get it, I'm gonna pay $100 for the shirt. A month later, that same shirt is on the for sale rack for $29.99. I hate when that happens.
That hurts.
So it's like real estate is the same way. If you be patient and you look for deals, the right deal is going to come to you. Now, my best deal in the last 5 years had to be Creesham Road, which I just got last year.
If you don't mind, can you give us the numbers on that? As far as like the purchase price,
the purchase
renovations,
price,
ARV, for single or multi?
6924 Creesham Road. This is in West Mount Airy / Chestnut Hill. It's a block behind Lincoln Drive. I purchased it for $7,000. So far, I put around $30,000 into it. And when I finished the apartment downstairs, let's say I put another $30,000 downstairs.
So this is a
multi-unit. Mm-hmm. The ARV last time I checked was around $545. So that deal came from being patient because they didn't want to sell me that house. But I waited and I waited and I kept being consistent with, hey, why don't you sell it to me? Why don't you sell it? Let's work something out. And these people evidently became hard up for cash, and I was there with, it's just patience. All deals I do is deals, I have to be patient. You have to be patient. If you want to be successful at anything, you have to be patient.
So, multifamily in one of the best neighborhoods in,
right.
Not even just Philadelphia, one of the best neighborhoods in this part of the country.
Right.
How did you get it for $7,000?
I bought a property off these same people for $10,000.
Right. So you knew the family.
Right. From guess what? Guess what formula I use?
What?
You know whose house is this right here? Knocking on doors. Now I don't want everybody people to start going outside knocking on doors. You know
somebody watching right now, like, I'm go knock on these doors.
But the bottom line is that anything that you're trying to do, start in-house first. Start with people you're familiar with. If you're familiar with the neighborhood, if you grew up and this is Miss So-and-so's house and you knew her since you was a little kid, see what she's doing with the house.
Right.
Tell her your story. Say, hey, listen, I'm trying to do the right things. I'm trying to do something for my family. And if the people are really trying to uplift black people, they're going to maybe give you a shot. Pray. Do the right things.
Relationships.
Right. Relationships are everything.
Right.
You have to form relationships in anything that you do. Relationships. We are here at this very moment because of relationships.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So build your relationships and don't be afraid to just, go ahead and explore your community and, just become more, friendly with people than you would normally be.
Right. It's like a lot of people look like, where am I going to find this house? Where am I going to get this next deal? Where am I going to get my first deal? And it's gold right there in your own neighborhood.
Right.
You just got to actually speak to the people and communicate with them, and you never know what they actually have.
Right, because that's what these fake guru investors do. They go to the neighborhood, they just offering a lot more cash.
Right.
I don't care how much money I make or how much money I have, I'm still going to stick to the same formula. Just because everybody else is offering $40,000 and $50,000 for these houses now, don't mean I'm going to offer $40,000 and $50,000 for these houses.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick to my same formula. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Just to go back to that property, I know you said you got it for $7,000, an amazing deal that you got because you had this relationship with this family, and you already purchased the property from them before. Right. So I'm sure they had trust in you.
Right.
So they didn't even put this on the market. They strictly knew to call Franklin Jones because of relationship.
Because of relationship.
Okay. So what's because this is one of your best deals and this is a newer deal. I guess it's not finished yet, but what would be the ARV on a property like this?
You're talking $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
Worst case scenario, $450,000.
Can y'all define what ARV is? For those that's not in real estate.
Right. So the after repair value.
Right.
The ARV.
I'm sorry, guys.
It's all good. So after you bought it for $7,000.
Right.
So far, you've put $30,000 in. You're $37,000 in.
Right.
And are you doing the work on this property as well?
Right, myself.
So same thing you did back in 09. 12 years later, you're still working on it, slow walking it, and then you're not paying the bank a loan because you purchased it straight from this man,
Right.
and you're not paying any contractors because you're doing the work yourself,
Right.
and you don't have to communicate with anyone,
Right.
because it's solely with you, correct?
Absolutely correct.
Okay, and then once you get done this property, you're saying it will be worth anywhere from $450 and up.
Right.
Okay.
So the thing is this: stick to your formula with anything in life. Anything that you're trying to do in life, anything you're trying to be successful at, just stick to your formula. I change by not changing. You know, when we're all in the same lane, right?
Right.
It's like traffic. Everybody's in the same lane, beeping the horn. So people get upset. What they do, they move to that other lane. I stay in that lane and let them move out the way so I can go further. You see what I'm saying?
And so, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this. You got a culmination of experiences and knowledge and, best practices. What would you say, like, the one or two sole reasons that you would, like, say is why today Franklin Jones is successful? If you had to be able to pick just a few.
My relationships with people.
Okay.
Not being afraid to go after exactly what I want. And change by not changing at all.
Okay. You had your formula and you stuck to it.
Right. I don't change my formula. Even to this day, it's the same exact formula.
And it works.
Yes.
Like they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. Yes. Right. I'm not changing nothing for nobody.
Right. What would you? There's a lot of young people that are going to be watching, even older, that are getting into real estate. What's some advice you would give them?
The advice that I would give people is to go with your gut feeling. Trust those around you that Matter of fact, just be around people that believe in you and your ideas, even if they don't even sound, so successful. But every idea is not going to sound successful at first.
Right.
When I first started buying these buildings, my mother told me, she said, "I don't know why you buying all these abandoned buildings, Frankie. You got to stop it. These buildings are going to fall down. They're not worth nothing. They're in this neighborhood. They're in that neighborhood." When I talked to my mother today and said, "Hey, Mom, remember you told me not?" She has amnesia. I never told you. I never told you. Even when I talked to my dad, I said, "Dad, remember you said I fell?" I don't remember me telling you that you fell. Why do you keep saying that? So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Believe in yourself more than anything. Don't get fooled by monetary possessions and fake gurus on social media, real estate tycoons. Don't get fooled by none of that stuff, all the glamour and glitz. Just stick to your original plan and get with somebody like Tyrone had the mindset. Look, I'm gonna get with Frank.
Yep.
And I'm gonna
add some value.
Right. I'm gonna add, cause you did come work.
I'm more than that.
Right. You did, yeah. Add some value and just believe in yourself. That's just I believed in myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was nervous, when I got home and my spirit was broken. I was nervous, but I still believed in myself. And when my brother Ranel, who's, he's a brother from the motherland, he's from Africa also. Brother Ranel, when he was saying, "Look, man, come meet my uncle at the shrine," I was nervous, but I was so broken that I just needed something to help me. Something to give me that boost of energy back. So,
Right. And, lastly, I want to talk on the fact that you are a father. You are a married man who's been married for a while, that has not let the glam and the glitz and women afflict him over the years.
Right.
So that takes a lot of discipline, which, unfortunately, a lot of men don't have. on top of you being, and correct me if I'm wrong, a vegan or a vegetarian,
Yes.
and you don't indulge in any illegal substances or alcohol, correct?
No, because
That's subtle, but that's major when it comes to accomplishing goals. Can you just briefly touch on that, like, and how you, like, when did you really realize, like, I'm not eating meat because that's not good for my body? Because I mean, you still look very youthful, and just the fact that you don't drink alcohol or you don't do illegal substances, like, how did that start out, and when, and how has it played a factor in your life and your success?
I call it 360 degrees success. I mean, success all the way around. You know, every aspect of my life I want to be successful at. I just don't want to be successful because I got money. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean you're successful. That just means you got money. That's financial success probably, but I wanted to be a successful husband, a successful father.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to eat, physically be successful. Not just have money. You got rich people that's sick. What good is the money if you're sick? I wanted to also be an advocate for just living correctly, not just being successful at real estate. I stopped eating meat because when you look at my grandmother died of this, my grandfather died of that. All these people around us are killing ourselves by poisoning our bodies. Sodas, meat, our diet in the black community is horrible. What type of quality food can you get from the corner store?
Right.
Everything, if we put it like this, if we all went to the corner store right now and we all got chicken wing platters, that's 1, 2, 3, there's 5 of us. All our food gonna be fried in the same grease. 5 more people gonna come. Their food gonna be fried in the same grease. So just imagine 60 people go to that store in one day. All the food is fried in the same grease. Is that healthy? No. I want to be healthy. I want to enjoy my life. I want to enjoy my children.
And do you believe those choices that you made, like, attribute to your success?
Yes.
In all areas, as you said?
Yes. I work 12, 14 hours a day.
Right.
You worked with me for 12, 14 hours. And
right, I can attest to it.
And didn't see me eat one thing.
Right.
It's energy.
Right. You manage your diet. You understand what you're putting in your body.
Right.
And you intentionally understand, like, how to take herbs and drink the right water, as we said.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Herbs and just getting out of that. Mm-hmm. Just, how can I put it? I didn't want to be Americanized anymore. Once I started getting deeper into African culture and spirituality, I didn't want to be Americanized no more, because America was like a tight shoe. It wasn't all the way comfortable. But the closer I get to my African culture and spirituality, I became more and more comfortable with who I am. Mm-hmm. I was learning about, African tradition and culture. So when you say pepper soup, I know exactly what he's talking about. Mm. I had some pepper soup before that blew my socks off. You know what I mean?
What about jollof rice?
I'm not. Mm-hmm. I know the pepper soup. I know the peanut butter soup. I know everything that blew my socks off. Like, I was
same.
So the closer the point, going back to what you said, I started eating healthy because I wanted to be successful all the way around the board. I didn't want to be this super fat rich guy.
Right.
That ate meat all day and killed himself, and he couldn't enjoy his wealth, couldn't enjoy his grandkids. I got to be around for my grandkids and hopefully my great grandkids. So I'm trying to eat and diet a certain way. Right. And let me say one more thing. Mm-hmm. There's 3 types of categories in life. 3 types. You have assets, liabilities, and stuff. Most black people have stuff. Most black people that do a little bit better than others create liabilities. They start making a little bit more money. Now they want the nice car, they want this, they want that. Very early on, I watched this program and it taught me about assets, liability, and stuff. Stuff is Gucci, Louis Vuitton, all the crazy things. That's just stuff. It has no real value to it other than you believe in it because of somebody's name on it. His Gucci's your oh, wow, that's nice, man. That's nice. And it's deceiving. Stuff can be very deceiving. Liabilities, nice house, nice car, nice apartment, tons of credit cards. You got a Neiman Marcus credit card, and it's great to have, but those are liabilities. Those things are gonna cost you money. If you're trying to be successful, you need to go after the assets. That's what's very important, the assets. Now, assets are gonna pay for all the stuff that
Right.
you want. But don't drown in the stuff. Go after the assets. Just do 1 year without buying anything. Just 1 year, just only investing into assets, and it'll change your life drastically. Drastically. Just stay away from stuff. You go in people's house, they got piles of stuff. You got people that collect sneakers, they got piles of stuff.
Right.
You got people that girls got weave hair, they got piles of stuff.
Right.
Say, well, how many sneakers you got? Well, I collect Jordans, man. I got 100 pairs. How many houses you have? Well, I ain't get my house yet, man. I'm just renting this apartment.
Right.
It hurts when I see a brother at the bus stop and he got on $200 Air Maxes.
Right.
That hurts me.
Yeah. So, with that being said, we all can attest to buying stuff, but you gotta make sure you're purchasing them assets first.
Right. Assets are the priority.
Assets over everything.
Right.
Yeah, Frank, it's been amazing. It's literally been amazing. We appreciate you for coming.
No problem.
Seriously, and where can people find you? And if you have anything else to add, because it's all great content that I'm sure our viewers would love.
I'm not the Instagram guru guy. That's not me. I'm not the guy that's showing you, I'm not trying to sell you.
Right.
I didn't come here to sell you on a lifestyle. It is what it is with me. If you know somebody that knows me, then you can find me.
Okay.
9 times out of 10, I'm somewhere working instead of trying to sell you a lifestyle through social media.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that's really what it is. I'm somewhere being a father and a husband. When you called me yesterday, I was with my kids at an amusement park.
This is true. We put in work, and that's it. No excuses.
Right. That's it. Me and my wife just was at Cretan Road. I was putting up trim.
Right.
That's it.
Well, we appreciate you, Brother Franklin Jones.
Wow, thank you.